like.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I want to call the February meeting of the Economic Development Planning and Land Use Committee to begin. Thank you for being here on this chilly morning. Do I need to officially call the meeting? Do I need a first and second to do that?
No, we just do attendance and we should be good to go.
If you just want to, let's just go around one time and do attendance, just so we've got everybody on record. Sarah Belowski, Chair, Town Board Member.
Ray Gillen, Metroplex. David Darpino, Chair, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Kelly Darpino, Confidential Secretary. Erin Cassidy Dorian, Supervisor.
Carol Parks,
Controller. Trisha Brigamy, Assistant Planning.
Doug Horton, Metroplex.
Laura Robertson, Planner.
Thanks, everybody. We're going to start with our annual Metroplex presentation, and I'm going to ask Doc as our representative to kick that off for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. No, economic development is the lifeblood of every community. And there is no individual who's been more instrumental to the economic development of not only this town, but Alberta County than Ray Gillen. So it's my honor to introduce Mr. Ray Gillen this morning. Let's give him a warm,
Thanks, Doc. He's a great board member. Always shows up, always has great, thoughtful input. Love working with the team here at the town. Congrats to everybody, Sarah and Erin. I watch the town board meetings and I always amazed how much you know about everything. I mean, you just have like a command of this place.
I hang out here a lot.
Like, I don't think I know this much about what I'm doing. I watch the meetings, which shows you how exciting my life is. I'm watching them. I'm glued to this.
They get a little excited.
They do sometimes, yeah. But I love working with Laura and Clark, and you have a great team here at the town, and they're just a pleasure to work with. And so just remind folks what Metroplex is. We're a state authority, but we're locally controlled because you get to appoint people like Doc to serve on our board, and the county appoints me. So we're state, but we're not state. We're controlled by the community. And our service territory in the initial legislation has spelled out certain commercial corridors, but eventually most communities in the county, this community included, expanded that to include the entire town. So our service territory includes the entire town. And what we do is we collect 0.5% of your sales tax, which is nice. Anytime you buy something, when you bought that Starbucks this morning, when you pay your sales tax of 8%, 0.5% comes to Metroplex. And what we do is invest that. We invest 70% of that, the 0.5%. And I was never good at math, so I'll come back to that in a minute. But we invest 70% of the 0.5% in projects that create more sales tax, more jobs, and more property tax. So if we do a good job, the tax base grows and the job base grows and the economy grows. In the last year, the figures just came out, our most recent report, we brought $500 million in new investment and 800 jobs to the county. So we think we have a pretty good return on investment.
Man,
Just out this week was the sales tax numbers for the county, and our sales tax went up 6% year over year, and that ranks us third in the capital region behind Columbia and Greene County, which are much smaller counties. So we beat most people don't realize this. We beat Saratoga County, we beat Albany County, we beat Rensselaer County, we beat Warren County. Our sale, and that's an indicator of the local economy. People buying things, people shopping, people investing, people going to our attractions. 6% is a very healthy growth rate. The statewide average was about 4%. So what does that mean for the town? 30%, going back to that 0.5%, 30% of that goes right to the town as a check. We don't get involved at all. And that number for 2025 was $1,390,953. You can check that for us. But that's our and the town has received $23.6 million since Metroplex started in '99. So that important piece, as we grow the pie, as we grow sales tax, the town should get an more revenue than they're getting, and keeps going up every year. Around and around we go. So it's all good. We adhere to smart growth, green space preservation, open space preservation. I was a Boy Scout growing up, so our mantra at Metroplex is protect the aquifer at all times. That's one of our greatest resources. So what I want to do is just move around, discuss some of the projects we've been involved in. We love, we were able to work closely with the town and the county to redevelop the Co-op Plaza. It looks, every time I go by, I just smile because I think it looks great. The county had the initial street work and grant from the state, but we were able to come in with a lot of the extras, pave behind it, do the benches, do the lighting, a lot of things, and working with the town. And we'd like to do more there. It's never looked better. I grew up down the street on Clifton Park Road. My newspapers used to be delivered to the liquor store there, and I was a Gazette carrier. That plaza has not looked this good in my lifetime, which is more years than I want to count. But we want to do more. There's still a couple of storefronts there. We'd love to do a facade grant. If any of those businesses are interested, if they're willing to put a little bit of money in, we do a matching grant and improve their storefront. When you have an improved storefront, people equate good looking storefronts with prosperity, good things. Business improves usually, and on and on we go. We get more sales tax, we get more property tax. So things we had a major role in what used to be St. James Square. We bought a shop right there with former Supervisor Landry, who's still a good friend, and of course that morphed into a Market 32, which is great. We took down the old Friendlies, which is part of the whole. People still got mad at me about that. But this plaza here, when we started working on it, it was empty. We couldn't go to a meeting in the town or in the county where people wouldn't get up and start screaming at us about what are you going to do about St. James Square, and it's come a long way in a short period of time. And again, we're available to there are continuing any vacancies that come up there. We want to be helpful. We brought momentum to town. We work closely with the town leadership to bring momentum to town. Laura's done a great job working with them as they prepare to do some demolition work out there of the older facilities and build new facilities. That's been a real win. We were really concerned that campus would go dark or be donated to a not-for-profit who wouldn't pay taxes and also wouldn't create any jobs and also would not keep up the property. Everyone who's driven by that property for years and years and years, they do it. SI always did a great job keeping it up, and now it looks as good as it's always looked. So we're very proud of that. We worked with E1 on 2 expansions that have added jobs and sales tax and property tax. We worked very hard with the town leadership on Rivers Ledge 1 and 2, going back to our meetings with the Williams family, respectfully saying, God, that's a beautiful piece of property on the river with a lot of junk cars on it. And, it was done with the cooperation. We're still grateful to the Williams family. And that's been a great successful project. We run the land bank. Metroplex doesn't do anything with 1 or 2 family homes or single residences, but we set up the land bank, and we've had some big wins in Mosquito. We cleaned up properties on Cornelius, on Van Rankin, on Mohawk Road. We're available. If you have zombie properties, life is hell if you have a zombie property on your street. Your property values go down. There are smells, there are odors, vacant homes. I know there was one that just got fixed we didn't have anything to do with it, but on St. David's Lane, a guy I grew up with, his father built the home and it just fell into disrepair. And, this is where the town codes people come in and do a great job. But if you have zombie properties, that are out there, we have great tools with the land bank to be able to help you address those. So if you spot some zombies out there, let us know. We worked on the bike trail. We worked with Sarah on the bike trail signage, and I love the sidewalk grant you guys just got from the state regional council. That was a great win. Congrats, Laura, and everybody, the team here, the supervisor. Great win. We love trails and sidewalks and like that we can do. We brought Trelleborg and Unilux to the Niskuna Commerce Park and the Army Reserve Center and built the road and the infrastructure there. And we're really choosy. We have some people looking at the park now, which I'll talk about in a minute, but we have 100 acres there, and we turn down a lot of people that want to come in and do a distribution center with 500 trucks a day. I knew if I do that, Laura would get really upset with me and you'd get upset with me. So I turned down a lot of people, and we're grateful that the Gillespie Group is such a big developer that they're able to hold that property and, wait for something, the right deal that fits with the town's character and the residential character of the town and the traffic. So we're hopeful to talk about some new things. Probably the biggest news is we work closely with the governor directly and the state, Empire State Development, for GE to invest, GE Vernova to invest $96 million in that Balltown Road campus and the Niskuna campus, which was a huge success. GE Vernova, if you're talking to people, friends and family at the Super Bowl this weekend, we got to deliver the message better that the hottest company on Wall Street, the hottest player in green energy, the biggest growth tech company in the United States and maybe the world right now is GE Vernova. But you talk to the average Schenectadian and they think, well, are the plants still open downtown? I mean, they went public April 2nd, 2024 at $150. The stock is close to $700 right now. Not that I have no shares, but it's an amazing story. And what they've done, and I think all of you were there for the open house, and the way they've developed that property with the support of the Planning Commission and everyone in this room, you saw this is a quality company at the cutting edge. If if kids are home from college or you're talking to people, like the number one company in the world doing cool stuff with green energy and it is right here. It's in town, and this is their research and development hub. And we all need to do a better job of getting that message out. So I want to talk more about that in a second. And we've had 4 GE Vernova suppliers move to the county in the last 18 months. And we were showing an additional one around this week. So that the spinoff effect has been unbelievable. None have come to the town yet, but that's a potential target big time for the Niskuna Commerce Park. Looking ahead, we're very hopeful. Well, just again, back to GE Vernova, I looked yesterday because I have no life again. If you look at their website, there's 53 jobs open today at GE Vernova Niskuna. If you look at Indeed, there's 34 on the GE Vernova website. Aviation, there's 93 jobs open today, on the GE Aerospace website and 38 on Indeed for GE Aerospace. I mean, this is a fast growing complex there with GE Healthcare, GE Aviation, GE Aerospace, and GE Vernova in this unit. They are really doing great things. And over the years, we've been up here at Town Hall. Laura's been at these meetings. You've been at these meetings, Supervisor, and your predecessors to make sure that we keep that campus healthy. And so far, it's been working. So it's really important. We're very hopeful that as part of this expansion that the governor supported last year, the $96 million at GE Vernova, part of that package that was provided to GE was an invitation for us to apply for Fast New York money. And we're hopeful of a decision on that funding shortly. And why is that important to the people in this room is that we have included in our application funding for a water line. We work very closely with the supervisor on this, that for years the town has not been able to get water and sewer money from the state because a lot of them are needs tested and there's some, you don't qualify. But because of the expansion of GE Vernova, we've been able to hopefully include that in our application, and we're very nervously awaiting and hopeful about an announcement about that grant, which would both continue to support the expansion at GE Vernova, but also provide some sizable funding for the town to help with the water line that goes from Blatnick Park right up to River Road. So fingers crossed, we're hopeful of that announcement coming soon.
Ray, is there a timing on that? Is it at the discretion of
We're
the?
open January.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we did a great job with the application. I'm very good at a few things, but most things I can't do anything. I can't change a tire. I can't paint a room. I'm not good at anything, but I like doing these applications and doing projects. That's my only talent area. And we did a great job with the application. And the state understands that this research campus with the three GE entities there now is really something that's unique in New York State and really in the country. And so we got to continue to support it. And they understand that. So we're, and they've got to have good water service, right? And so we're very hopeful that this will be something we'll see happen very shortly, we hope.
Would have went through there yesterday at 6 a.m. The road would have been closed.
Yeah, because of a water break. Yeah.
Because we're repairing a big water break and, just to show the emphasis of it.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, we've got, people trying to get to work. How many people are working there?
Yeah.
Completely disrupted.
Yeah.
They're frustrated and I get it.
Yeah.
They're taking it out on our guys. It's,
No, and you guys have made it very clear, so we put it front and center in our application, and again, I can't comment on too much, but fingers crossed. So, we're also, when the sidewalk grant was announced, didn't get any attention, but there was a $500,000 grant that was announced to a group that wants to do a daycare in Niskuna, and I know they're talking with Laura, and that's a very good group. They are proven developers. They live in the town, and they're like, you need daycare here.
Oh, we do.
And
Big time.
so it was fantastic. When I did economic development 20 years ago with the state, we never would give a grant out for daycare. But now that shows you how important that is now. So again, on the grant side, 500,000, that is really going to help that project get going and take off. I know they're talking to you now, and that's a very positive development for the town. I know the Niskuna Harbor project is moving ahead. They've been talking to us. Next to Rivers Ledge with some condominiums and some other development. I think that really continues to build on the waterfront, on the bike trail, smart development on the waterfront, all the way down to our $650 million Rivers Ledge project. So we're excited to see that move forward. At some point soon, the Walmart lease is going to end over there because they just
Never
pay
ending lease.
the full
Yeah.
full rent. It must be nice. It's a closed store. They cap so much money, but we're really going to need to market that site and work with the owner of the plaza and of Manchester Square, and we're gearing up. We're talking to people already. The time is, we talked to
That was on my
the
list.
council person about
So I'm glad
this.
that you brought it
Sarah.
up.
2028 that it's up?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay.
But the time is now. It's going to take,
Yeah.
somebody, but we're very focused on that. We've had discussions with companies.
Ray, do
we
you
can't-
know the square footage of that?
It's about 40 to 50. It was a small format
Yeah.
grocery. Walmart opened like 6 in the country.
Yeah.
All 6 shut down within a year.
Yeah.
And they continue to pay the rent. But we can't have a closed store like that in
Yeah.
Niskuna. We just can't. And the reason it hasn't been filled is because Walmart's paying full rent. But as that terminates, there's going to be more opportunity. And frankly, Walmart is not interested in leasing it to certain companies who are competitors. So it's been kind of a stalemate, but we're hoping that starts to go well. We're starting to talk that property up and show it to people now, and we're going to work closely with the town on that and make that a priority as it comes online. I love the idea of doing more on State Street. I was a pain in the neck about that auto dealer up there, but I think there is most people don't even realize that's Niskuna, but there's certainly a lot of work that needs to be done in there. Dwayne's Toyland, we want to be helpful in those things. Please bring us in. Yeah, Dwayne's
We
Toyland.
just brought it back. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
sorry, I
That was
lost
not,
it.
what was that?
It's on the left side
Oh,
if you go
yeah.
up State Street, and the building is, needs help. It needs help. I mean,
Everything,
Everything.
yeah.
that's a great place. But that corridor, I know that the town is back working with the car dealership there, and anything we can do in that corridor, because I think that's going to help us with Walmart. You don't want blighted areas near Manson Square or Mall Commons, and you don't want them anywhere in your town. So I think that's very important. again, any land bank, our land bank is one of the best in the state. And if you have zombies, properties, let us know. One of the things we talked to Sarah about is, we're very concerned about, 4 vacancies on Upper Union Street. It's not only a small part of it is in Niskuna, and that part is strong, but in the city, it's a major commercial corridor. It's a major entranceway to the county. And we have just too many vacancies up there now. Everyone's devastated by the Gershon's closure, which really has nothing to do with the economy or their location, but the untimely passing of one of the original owners and the burdens that placed on the successor there, Tony, and so we'll work through that. I was saying before, Civitello's down in Little Italy, same situation. We were able to bring in a new owner and right the ship and restore that kind of important brand to our community. So we'll continue, but please, Upper Union is important. We're going to really dedicate more and more resources. We did last fall. We did a lot of plantings, and we're going to really need to. We're looking at some murals up there, some other things, because it's just an important corridor. As this corridor is important, that corridor is important too, and it's right on your edge. And you do not want blight coming on that corridor, getting close to the town. That's another important message. Second, Odie Heck, Laura calls me every 6 months. What's going on with Odie Heck? We call the state when she calls me. And really, they've said we're using everything. And there's only that parking area over near Raymore and Flanagan and their plaza that they would consider selling, and then it goes all along the Balltown Road, and we'd love the state to do a sidewalk there. But for now, it's kind of status quo, and I guess that's a good news, bad. There are a lot of state employees there. It's in a sense, it's a mini campus. It's the IT hub for the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities, and there are a lot of jobs there. For a long time, we thought they may make a row of those former residential buildings available, but they decided not to. So we'll just keep watching, and I appreciate Laura's attention to that. I think we're going to need to look at that old town hall area this year. I know there's been some turnover there. I still love this idea. I think it would be the greatest thing for this, is if that whole fields behind there could somehow be redeveloped by the school district or somebody. They really haven't. They look the same as they did when I played Little League there, which was a long time ago, and I wasn't very good either. I joke. I tell people I played left out when I was in Little League, but
We tried to get them to talk to us about taking on those courts to do pickleball courts there with like a little stand, and but it
so much
didn't go anywhere.
I just think that's something that you should look at. It's just a great piece of property. It would be such a lift for old Niskuna if
It's underutilized,
if that was, even if we had to provide a grant to help look at planning some kind of green space there or athletic, one of these MVP fitness stations that we have on the bike trail downtown. You could do a lot with that property.
So the district owns up to the parking lot or up to the playgrounds of the childcare center?
The playgrounds, the line is right there, and those courts are, they told me that they use them. I have never seen anybody on them. Has anyone? I've never,
they use them for VA gym, but I mean,
but
that's
they
gonna
don't
be-
anymore
they
because
don't.
now it's only right now it's
They're underutilized.
yeah.
It's more of a
Yeah,
dog.
I know. And that's what we keep getting questions about. It's, yeah. And they do actually use that field. I see the ball field being used. We could, I'm sure we could probably spruce it up and
Might
use
be
it a little
something
more,
that,
but
get a member item from Senator Fahey or, it's just a great piece of property that, in the athletic fields at the high school have all been redeveloped. Everything looks great. This is the major outpost of the school district is
Yeah.
something to look at.
They do use both of those fields for softball.
yeah.
Here, the softball
Yeah.
player, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Again, we don't have time to talk about, but again, the rest of downtown's going great. The harbor's going great. The new Hyatt's about to open. Those things are all important because they're amenities for everybody in the community. The new event center at the harbor is crushing it. the casino is doing great, which shows off a lot of taxes and creates 1,000 jobs. GE downtown is doing fabulous. They're building onshore wind turbines, generators and other power plant equipment. They are hiring and doing very well. So if you are interested in kind of continuing to follow what Metroplex does, is follow us on Facebook, because we post something there almost every day. A picture of a blighted building we fixed, some building we knocked down, some other things. So if you really want to track us, follow us on Facebook. And the one thing, the town does a fantastic job here. You do have a lot of reviews. And it's sometimes daunting for a developer comes in because you got tree council. Again, this is not a criticism. You want to do the projects right. And Clark and Laura manage people through the process. But sometimes when they first get going, they're like, oh my God, there's a lot of steps.
yeah.
Conservation Council, Green Council, Planning Board, ZBA, G. Vernova is working that now for their project and their latest project on Baltimore Road. But and again, it's just a matter of, it puts more of a burden on Clark and Laura to really help companies with a schedule and, to say, this is the process, and at some point it's quite a process. It's a bigger, longer process than we've had in other communities. But on the other hand, it's worked for you because the town is very well planned and it shows it's a beautiful town. So that's for yours. So happy to answer any questions, but we love working with the team here. We've done some good things without harming or impinging on the great residential quality of the town. We don't do stuff like that. That's not in our culture. But in key commercial areas and in key business areas, we're able to, where SI was for 100 years, they were going to go dark. We were able to bring somebody in. The Balltown Road campus at GE Vernova was basically vacant. I was actually showing it to other companies. It was basically a dead campus, and now it has been completely revitalized. So we're very hopeful on that grant. We're fingers crossed, and we'll stay tuned. So, but overall, things are going well, and we're fortunate.
Thanks, Ray. I have a couple questions. With this, I'm glad you talked about Walmart, because you and I had talked about that during the campaign, and I'm happy to talk about it again. With that innovation corridor, you mentioned the idea of using the existing space in that business park for suppliers. Like, are we kind of done with those three? Are they complete, like Momentive, E1, and GE? Is there anything else that can be done?
I think
within
the
that
suppliers
space?
would go more to the Niskuna Commerce Park,
Yeah.
where we have lands, where we're looking at a nice 20,000 square foot building or something that's nicely landscaped. That's where some opportunity at the Balltown Road campus. But I think that the Commerce Park is kind of a place for that.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, I know we've been working with you, and Laura, please jump in, because I know you know this more. We talked about that overlay district, right? And there are plans to do kind of flags and light poles and kind of creating more of this sense of space. I just wondered where we are with that.
Yeah. I don't know where we are with that, but we want to be supportive. We're going to be more of a financial support.
Yeah.
You guys have a plan, or you need to hire someone to create a plan to come up this corridor to build on what happened at Call Plaza and come up here. And
David said somebody had designed something or other, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I could maybe check in with him. I feel like he had something.
Yeah, we had a couple of people come up and look, and so we want to do that. One other thing before I forget, and the supervisor, I think, ahead of me on this one, is I was really impressed with the capital process when they had a review of the F complex, and they said, here are the 4 alternatives. They had great meetings here at Town Hall. I mean, there were some of the best public outreach meetings I've ever been to in my career, and they picked the alternative that was the most expensive but was the most beneficial to the town, the most thorough cleanup and a complete demolition of the F complex. And again, no, I try to stay away from politics, but once the clock turned to the new administration last year, they went from keeping us informed every time we called to not really talk to us anymore.
Yeah, they were supposed to invite us all for this time. They said February, March, they were going to invite us to a review, a walkthrough of the campus, but we haven't heard anything from them.
Yeah, we have not, I mean, and we literally were in regular touch with a group there. And, you know, when we asked for since the Trump administration took office, we've been stonewalled with our request. And to the point where we've discussed this with Senator Schumer's office and others, like, this was a completely open and transparent process. It's a 60 or $70 million project in the town. It was cleaning up the oldest buildings there and really creating a pad site for future development at Capel, because Capel is as busy as it's ever been, as I understand it, with the demand for nuclear propulsion at various ships and overseas as well. So that's something we'll follow up with you on. It's disturbing to me that they went from an open door policy, public meetings. Here's what we're doing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Laura, were you at the meet? I mean, the meetings were great. I mean, it was.
They did
You
come
heard-
in.
Yeah, no, they are very good at about being an open door. The only thing I do know is that they were impacted by the chainsawing of the federal government, and they were using and pulling money from places that they'd never had. And actually, I think a number of the employees had to go quite a while without getting a paycheck. So I might give them a little leeway, because I think that some of that may have been just the complete upheaval that they had to undergo with the budget being frozen on them for multiple times.
Yeah, that's good advice. I tend to be too impatient about things, but it just kind of like the curtain fell. We weren't getting any information, so that's something on our list for the 2026.
Oh, and we're talking about trying to get funds for the water line there, but Capel talked about building another building inside of the next 2 or 3 years on that site. And we don't have, I don't know how many people they were talking about bringing in. I think they said a scary number like 300, which are all the people that are down in downtown Schenectady right now. We don't have the traffic or the sewer capacity to handle that. And so not having communication with them makes me a little nervous too, because how much would that sewer line be? Like $8-10 million to upgrade it? Like, okay. So it would be nice if maybe we should try to stay high.
Get a little idea what's going on.
Nervous.
And then the last is just hopefully you'll be able to help us. And Laura, jump in on the details on this too. Ashok and Laura are working on a different, is it a DEC grant?
Yeah, it's the Open Space Land
yeah.
Conservation Grant.
There's a waterfall from the trail that's currently GE property, right?
Yeah.
And it's a straight up DEC grant where you get the land.
Mhm.
And so we're looking to do that because I think it's right over the Rexford Bridge. You know that?
Yeah, Ray knows where it is. The exciting thing about this time, Ray, is before we were asking them to donate, which I understand why they didn't go over very well. But this time we can actually offer to pay market value for the property.
To be fair, that was when GE was going through just a terrible
Yeah.
transition. You know, there were real questions about the company then, and I think we have a different pathway now. But yeah, please, that's exciting. That was
That would
always
be-
Yeah, that would be
the
really
bike
cool.
trail is one of the best assets we have, and we want to just, there were never signs on it. There were never etiquette signs on it. There were never historical signs on it. There was never welcome to Schenectady, welcome to this. We fixed all of that, and we want to keep doing more. Because it's a huge asset for the community. I mean, it's just fantastic. And one of the busiest spots in the entire trail, Buffalo to Albany, is down at Kiwanis Park,
Yeah.
or Lions Park.
Mine
Yeah.
is one of the busiest.
It's
but state.
absolutely jammed.
Mhm.
So, and the town does a great job of taking care of it. Really great, because the county has to take care of the trail in Rotterdam. So a lot of that falls on my shoulders. But in this unit, the trail always
Yeah.
looks great. So
Yeah.
they do a great job.
They do.
And even keeping part of it open in the wintertime, which is amazing.
Yeah, we're working on we're gonna reposition some grant funds that we're gonna use for River Road Park to Lions Park to get the train station up to.
Oh, that would, so
Yeah.
people could, yeah.
We don't have enough to do it the right way, so we just need to get the roof and
Yep.
make sure the raccoons don't come back.
Yep.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it'll look even nicer. And we have to get I'm just remembering last year we were gonna do the, roof on the bathrooms over there.
Okay.
And we didn't get a chance to. It's a small roof, so we should be able to get it done pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's jamming.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's the
always
summer, I always
busy.
am out there and it's busy. Great. Yeah, I think we'll just look for maybe support from in terms of that.
Sure,
That grant, because I think that'd be a great announcement to add to the
sure.
trail.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any way we could get a Trader Joe's interested in the Walmart property?
I'm sure that's who they're trying to keep out.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, this week cannot run out. quick
I know,
enough.
and I was thinking about that because I'm like, they want to keep certain people out. But if you look at their footprint, there's nothing. close.
That's
You're going all the way down.
Altamont Ave. Walmart, you're talking
Yeah,
about?
all the way to Altamont, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just,
Have you dealt with that with them in any other location?
we've talked to them, we talked to their developer, the director of dark stores, they call it, closed stores. They actually have a person.
That
who is-
sounds like Hogwarts.
Of course, and, you know, that's a real fun job dealing with their closed locations. But it's a, you know, it's monolithic company and, again, once the lease expires, I think there's gonna be a lot more opportunity. It's just been, just as a, because you're all interesting people here. One of the things that companies are allowed to do is put restrictive covenants on properties that somebody, I mean, we dealt with McDonald's in Scotia. There was a McDonald's there and it closed and it was empty. It was being vandalized. And, we actually had to threaten McDonald's with eminent domain to get it down. But they put a restrictive covenant on that. No food can be sold at this location for forever. I mean, it's like this was the same kind of restrictive covenants that used to be used to keep people away based on religion, race, ethnicity, and thank God all of those things have been gone. But there's still an ability to say, you know, we're not going to. Now, in this case, we have a good benefit because the building and the land is owned by the developer Mason Square. They did a lease there. That's not going to be an issue, but it's still a problem in some of these spots. Because right now, Walmart's not going to sell it to anybody in the grocery. They're not going to sell it to anybody that's competing with Walmart. So
Stewart's did that.
Yeah,
yeah,
we had that issue on Hill Road, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that where, yeah.
it's unbelievable, like that they can do that still.
I know.
So is there any movement on that Council Road? I know you had that big.
yeah.
She's moving ahead.
Yeah.
Good.
Super excited.
That's awesome.
Her desserts are amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
Oh, so close
That's
to.
good.
Oh, God.
So close.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any
I
other
know we just Went
questions?
over, I'm sorry.
No, that's
Oh,
good.
no,
Laura,
that's
anything
great.
else that we didn't cover?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Laura has. my
Sure.
Hope you feel better, Laura.
Oh, thanks, Ray. Actually, I know you probably have to leave, but David's got a chock full planning update, and there's a new GE building, GE Renova building that's going on Balltown Road that has some beautiful renderings. If you haven't seen it,
They have seen them. They shared us with us before they, you know, the new entranceway and everything. Very nice. So yeah, no, I'm up to speed on all that. And again, the Matt at GE is very
He's great.
comfortable working
Yeah.
with you guys and with the town staff and with the planning commission and again, that camp, we have to tell people that campus was,
Mm-hmm.
there were a few people going there for training after COVID, basically they never came back. The buildings were empty. Nothing was going on there. Now you have just a fabulous technology being developed there, people coming from all over the country, all over the world. And the director of capture technology they're working on is unbelievably important. So yeah, no, I keep going. So
Yeah, I know. The first time I went on that campus, I was there, and then once they started to build, I said it from the beginning, and I know what they do is, you know, so highly proprietary, but I still feel like every kid at Niskayuna High School should have the opportunity to kind of do what we did there because it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
It really, we should talk to about making that part of, you know, a class or a curriculum, a certain grade curriculum.
they don't need to leave town to work in the most exciting technologies in the world. They're right next to their
Yeah.
high school, but they may not know it. So that's a great idea to kind of set that up. And
And to your point about telling that story.
yeah,
I'm a big believer in like the ambassador model, right?
Yeah.
So the more people that we can, I think, bring there and have them tell that story, go forth and tell that story to
Yeah.
others, because I agree, we've talked about it with media coverage, like it is a story that needs to be told better, and we're going to work on that on this end. So,
well, the other thing is on the aerospace side, some of them, what is it, 2 out of 3, if you look up in the sky, you see a plane, odds are it has a GE engine and that's powering it. The first, all early research in jet engines was done here in Schenectady. And that's the third biggest location for GE Aerospace. And they have locations all over the world. We're sit between Lynn, Mass and Evendale, Ohio, where they have major production hubs. But this is their R&D hub here in Niskayuna, a very important part of the community, 1,000 people, engineers. So very important. Thanks, everybody.
terrific. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. Good to see you again.
Thanks.
Always
Talk
thank
to you soon.
Thank you so much. I always forget my code.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you, Laura. See you.
Thank
Thanks. Good to see you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Excellent. Okay, we will move on to public concerns. There's no one here. I don't know, Laura, if there was anything received, Trish, electronically.
Nope.
Yeah, excellent. And then item C is approving the minutes from January 9th. Any amendments or changes to those? It looks good on my end. So can I have a motion to approve? Motion.
Second.
Second by Doc, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Terrific. And we'll move it right along. Thank you all. That was a great presentation, though. I think that was very important for us with all the things that we have going on.
And he
Right.
always does a great job, and I think it sets a wonderful tone for us.
I do too, as we move into the next year.
Mhm.
I agree. And I'm hungry as a communications person now. I want all those data points. What can I do with these things? I gotta make sure everybody knows them. There's a lot of good things there. Okay, so for resolutions, Laura, I'll let you take that away.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen, but it doesn't want to recognize my window. Here we go. Hopefully this works. So the first one is the resolution to adopt the open meetings law remote attendance policy that had its public hearing. I think we just had one comment, which was in line with the policy. You can't just not want to come to a meeting. The goal is that you come in person, but it allows for, if you have issues.
Yep.
Then the second one we actually had this on last month, and it's still a tentative if we would want to appoint Gordon Whitish to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I know we're still maybe looking at other spots for him too, but I wanted to leave that on here because I need zoning board members so badly.
Yeah.
The third one is a resolution adding a company to the town's TDE rates for 2026. I apologize. I thought I had them all. But Clark reminded me that 3900 State Street, actually we use, I think they're called FCM. So we need to make sure that we've got their rates that are updated to 2026. So that's in your packet there. And we'll just add that one in. The fourth one is a resolution to authorize a transportation alternatives program grant application. I will be getting feedback on the pre-application on this today. What we had decided to do was take a chunk of the linkage study, I think 3 blocks, and submit for the full treatment, which would be median, narrowing of the lanes, a sidewalk, and a multi-use path. It would only be for 3 blocks though, and it's $8 million. So it's probably a reach, but I do feel like it's worth trying for, and you'd have to include that stuff in there because the transportation, the TAP program is really meant for providing pedestrian and bicycle accommodations. So that's important for it.
path, right? The path even though the path sort of comes later in our priorities for the linkage study, in this case, you would need to include it given the
Right.
parameters
Just
grant.
because of of that particular grant, doesn't mean we won't try for other ones where we go for like the median first. But this
Mhm.
does need to have that connectivity. So,
Okay,
the fifth one is a tentative resolution authorizing submittal of the grant application for the open space conservative grant program through DEC. That one is tentative only because the grant application isn't due until mid-April, and it's most like best if we know what land we're going after and we have an offer. So it may actually make more sense in March, but if Ashok and I are able to pull everything together by the end of this month, we'll certainly put it on there. But my guess is that it'll very much more likely go in March, because we would want that resolution to be as close to what we want the grant application to be as possible. If that makes sense.
this is what we were just talking to Ray about in terms
Yes.
of the waterfall, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna send a letter to a number of owners in Niskuna that own undeveloped open space and
Yeah.
gauge anybody's interest. We can submit 2 applications, again, no match. So, and then we just want to see who's interested, and then see if we can get some money through DEC to preserve that land.
Okay.
And then finally, resolution accepting stormwater maintenance agreements and easements from E1 as part of the second expansion that Ray was talking about at E1. They built a bigger stormwater pond, and so in order for their notice of termination to be allowed, they
Yes.
have to have a long-term maintenance agreement. They are saying that they will do the maintenance in perpetuity. And the maintenance agreement outlines what kind of maintenance that they're supposed to do, which comes right out of the SWIP. But we do take an easement so that if they're not maintaining their ponds, we can go on the property and charge them for the work to maintain the ponds.
Okay. Do we do this anywhere? Is there anywhere else I would know of that we do this, just for reference?
Yeah, we do it everywhere that has a stormwater pond.
Okay.
Now, I'd say we started doing it maybe 3 or 4 years ago because of the language in the NOT.
Okay.
Jump in, Dan, if I said it wrong.
Good.
Okay.
Terrific.
For the discussions, I just put 3406 Albany Street to give you guys an update. Last month, it was proposed as a resolution. For those of you who don't know, the zoning board denied the area variances allowing a place of worship. So without the ability to move forward with the area variances, we've removed it from the town board agenda, and that's why you don't see it there anymore.
Okay. And then grants.
So just an update for the Climate Smart Communities grants. We don't actually have the contract yet, so this isn't really changing the timeline of the grant, but I did manage to do a major number on my knee.
Yeah.
And I was originally planning on meeting with residents of Cornelius and Birchwood this beginning of February, but unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to push those meetings to April between now and having the surgery. But I will make sure that everybody whose property is proposed to have a sidewalk, will meet with them. We'll see what their needs are, what their concerns are, but before we finalize those plans, and then we'll get moving on that grant. So I just wanted to put out for the record that the meetings with the owners are being delayed a little bit.
And you'll use the schools again, like we did.
Yeah,
for-
the school is really good about it. I asked them if I could use Birchwood and Hillside, because then those people can literally just walk out of their house or drive, and it's only, a second. They don't have to come to town hall and feel uncomfortable. So
And Laura, is that more of a public meeting where you're explaining the process, timeline, what's going to happen? Or are you actually is there a set format, or are you kind of just providing information at that point?
my goal, which we've talked about with Complete Streets multiple times, is to mail everybody whose property is affected by the proposal and invite them to the school. So it's more like a community meeting where we're sitting down with them and looking individually at their properties.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was like presentation style or.
No,
Um,
I think we'll have a couple tables and we'll have a bunch of Complete Streets members, and then you'd be able to just sit down with me or one of the Complete Streets members and talk about what's going on there. And because not everyone knows how to read a site plan, because there's
Yep.
lots of people who are incredibly good at doing other things. So, happy to just sit with them and go through the individual, like where it would go, where's your mailbox, what happens to your driveway, which
Mhm.
is nothing, but
Right.
just so that people understand.
And just, this has been in the works. Are you anticipating concerns?
Yes, I do. I mean, we submitted the grant. We have a variety of people who are definitely in favor of them, but there's a number of people who have a sidewalk proposed for their property that are concerned about snow removal. They're concerned about losing trees. So yeah, it's definitely, and this is not unusual. It's definitely a change, and it causes a lot of anxiety and frustration, definitely to the people who are most impacted. I know it doesn't make any of those people feel better, but the studies have shown that in the long run, when the sidewalks go in, they do end up liking them. Probably not true of every single human on the planet, but property values do go up. It does make the roads safer. They are traffic calming, and we are going to save as many trees as possible. And in the case of Birchwood, we did try to push the sidewalk back so that the heavy snow from the plows won't fall onto the sidewalk as much. So we're doing the absolute best we can to try and address every concern we've heard. It won't make everyone happy. But we do want to have the open communication channels with them the whole time.
Birchwood also is a town road up to where it's Albany County, right?
Yeah, it's funny because it seems like a county road, but it is not.
I know,
Town
but I was
road.
just gonna say, as far as the sidewalks being maintained snow wise, it's so much easier when it's a town road because we don't have to guess when the county or the state's gonna come through again. So,
Yeah, but in that
Oh.
case, because it's a town road, they're responsible for maintaining the sidewalks.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying
It's easier to.
yeah, it's Route 7 is where we have the worst luck is because then the state plows come through and try to carve out those snowbanks and it all goes onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
They wait
Yeah.
until we plow the sidewalks, and then they're like, "Oh, look, a perfect place for us to put the snow."
Laura, we'll talk more, and I know I'm gonna be part of a Complete Streets meeting later in the month about, I think you'll have people that come to the meeting, but making sure we have some kind of FAQ that's very proactive on those points that are gonna come up,
Yeah.
not just for the residents, they're primary, but also just that the public is aware, because I think making sure that people have the right information, and again,
Yes.
right, go forth and tell the right story will be important. And yes, like going through the co-op streetscape project, so much resistance, and now everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better it is. So
Yeah, it is typical. It is a difficult process. And I completely understand that from the residents' perspective, that it's a change, and it's and it's scary, and there's things that they don't want. But I think I'm happy to put myself out there and put myself on the line. I really do feel like it's the right thing to do, and in the end, when it's built and it's beautiful, they will likely enjoy it. They can come back to me if I'm wrong.
and honestly, it's harder to argue with access to schools for kids. I mean, making schools walkable is
I don't think people realize how many homes are in
Yeah.
that neighborhood behind there either. And I feel like it would make it a huge win for that neighborhood.
I will
And
keep moving.
yeah, separation of. I mean, one of the things we actually hear from the people are it's not safe to walk on. Nobody walks on it. Well, yeah, that is true. It's got a very small shoulder, and it carries a lot of cars. So both Cornelius and Birchwood, they really need that separation between the walkers and the. It's not an area for people to be walking on shoulders. Just Cornelius, it's more of like the very mornings when the buses are coming down the road and the parents are dropping off and there's kids it's like similar to Plum Street. They just need to have that separation of traffic in order to, even if even if it's just one or two kids until the sidewalks go in, there's just not enough room to share and for it to be safe. So,
But Laura, is this project going to happen this year, or are we talking about 27?
well, I still have to go. I haven't seen the grant. 20
Contract.
2027.
Okay, so we need to move money into an H fund like sooner rather than later so that we don't run into any issues like we did last time.
Make a note of that. I would say that that's probably fair because we have to sign the grant application and then we have to put a bid package for contractors and stuff. We would already be behind the ball on that. It's possible that it could be very late in the fall, but usually you get much better bids in the spring.
That's fine. It's not going to make a difference if we do it this year, but it will make a difference if it ends up being next year. So let's just move it now while we're thinking of it.
To H fund. Yep. Alrighty. That'd be a budget mod, right?
I think so.
Did I send that to Janet? Okay.
And then Route 7, we had our meeting this week, Laura. I think the good news is that DOT is very ready to start moving on their portion, which will be a broken median versus the fuller proposal. And I'm actually not sure, now that I'm thinking about it, what the next step is for our study group in terms of public outreach.
Well, so the linkage study is wrapping up.
Yeah.
It had a pretty robust public outreach. It had a couple online surveys. It had a couple in-person meetings.
It was
And-
very good. I have to say, like, our participation rate as a town was like through the roof. They're
Yeah.
very impressed with the level of participation.
They had a join at your own pace webinar, which I'd never seen before, but I liked it a lot. It's
Yeah,
actually still up. And so at this point, like they did propose the draft to the study advisory committee, and it has a couple, I think you guys have another week and a half maybe to do comments, but at that point they'll wrap it up and present it to the Transportation Council Policy Board. And one of the things they asked was, which I don't think will be in time for February, but probably March, was if the town board can adopt it, that's much better for us getting grants and stuff like that too. So typically we would adopt it at the end. Like they still have 2 weeks of open comments and then they'll do some final kind of tweaking, but I definitely would like to get it out to the public at Complete Streets. We had a couple members of the public that were asking for the document and the data. So as soon as we can get that out to them, I think that would be good. But really it's just editing and an adoption at this point.
But then we can put it on our website and announce that it's available.
And then, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Terrific. And it's good. I have to say, I'm pleased that the speed was the overwhelming concern that reflected in the feedback. So I think that drives the decision making. And school safety improvement grant quickly.
Yeah, that's just a running grant that I'm working on. I gotta put the RFP out for the signs.
The signage, right?
Yep. So
Terrific.
David, you probably noticed, but I have a bunch of drawings in here. So as you're talking, I'll try and bring them up for you.
So we have been extremely busy at the planning board.
Yeah.
And we have 3 meetings in February. We had to reschedule one from the end of January for the snow event. So I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. We'll touch on a few that need to have a little bit more discussion. So recently completed resolutions. 6 St. Gerard Street was an application for a major subdivision. This is Lou Lisi's property. He's building one more unit there and we've gone through. So right now, just the public hearing has been scheduled and we're still working through the pending resolution to have the seeker done on this as well. There's a updated drainage that was submitted and EAF has to be completed, but basically you can see there's a parcel on the upper right-hand side that is going to become another developed house on that.
Is this off of Jelena?
Yes.
Okay.
It's back in that neighborhood there.
Okay.
There's no through street. There's about 11 acres or so that's part of that parcel. And it was previously subdivided. And so it's a major subdivision because he had to subdivide again. So it's going through the process. 1335 Balltown Road. This was a resolution that was approved for the dumpster relocation. That's the old town hall. So that one is all set. 2837 Aqueduct Road. This was application for site signage at Rivers Ledge. So the pylon signs and the Relazari signs are approved by the board. They will, the pylon signs will remain installed as currently configured. And then a new signage will be in the property for the last phase of development.
Yes.
390 Anthony Street is J Dog junk removal. That was a lot line adjustment to clean up something that just wasn't executed at the county level before. So they're in good shape. 1475 is Rooted Beauty Hair Society. That's the old Studio Orlo. Tenant change was approved.
Oh, I heard about
It's gonna
that.
be good. That's gonna be good.
Forward. And so like as Ray was kind of touched on before, that was a vacancy in that little plaza.
Mhm.
And now it's great. It didn't sit around too long, but it's going back in almost a 1-for-1.
And very much needed.
Yes. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, that was sad.
Yes.
It's like, it's looking a little depressing over there.
3515 Rosendale Road was a 2-lot minor subdivision that is tucked in sort of behind the dollar store, across from the gas station where Route 7 meets Town of Colony. So again, that was lot line adjustment over there. The applicant was very good to work with. A little bit of that was in the Town of Colony, but we were the lead agency on that, so that's all set. And then 2310 Knott Street East, this was new signage for an existing tenant. So the building right up the street here on the side facing us this way, there's I call it like a mansard roof. There's already a sign there. The tenant wanted to swap out that sign. They kind of rebranded or whatever it was. So it's basically a 1-to-1.
Terrific.
So those were the resolutions done since last meeting. We have a lot of active projects. So 2757 Aqueduct Road, that's the plan unit development for Niskayuna Harbors. There have been a lot of, we'll call them coordination meetings that were done with project leads and the applicant group. They are at a point, thank you, Laura, for that visual. They're at a point where the planning board is pretty happy with the concept of the sketch plan. We are going to call for a public hearing and then have that scheduled. And after that, we'll take it to the next level. So they've done an initial project on connectivity to the river. So if you look at the green swath that's at the top, that's the area of their property that they're going to deed to the town. So that'll connect with the canal portion that's developed. Rivers Ledge would be directly to your right.
Mhm.
Right? And they have a connection that's internal. We're working with them to see if it's possible to make that a permanent connection. Maybe helping deliveries not to go, if they go into Rivers Ledge or they come into Niskayuna Harbors, they have them go back out on the road. Maybe they could stay internally there. Taking a look at that. They've made a link down in the left-hand side to get to the rivers with a kayak launch. It's a steep grade, but that's probably the most manageable area right there. And then basically after that, we talked about density. We had them do an exercise on how many units are there, how far apart they are. This is a big deal because if you look at how some developers try to shoehorn in as much as possible, we had them do the exercise of how far apart are your buildings and how much green space can you actually do in the development area versus where these non-jurisdictional wetlands are on the property too. So they're balancing a good amount of green space that's there, some stuff that they shouldn't touch, and then how to work in other amenities, not just the housing places themselves, but the kayak launch. There's a recreation building next to the pond. They're going to have a little kids' tyke area, some walking trails, and then ultimately their connectivity across where the bike path is.
Yeah, I mean, you can say, I know our process is well known as being arduous by people in the business. This was, but this was a case of our planning board doing really good work, I think, and continuing to ask really good questions and asking them to come back.
Right.
What did they end up deciding? Have they yet in terms of creating it, having it not be sort of a monochromatic, every building's the same? Is there some change?
That's down the line. So
Okay.
there's 3 building types. There's an 8 building, a 4 building, and then the townhomes are all grouped together at the bottom of the page. So the townhomes would be the first phase. Those are actually individually owned lots. So those would be parceled off. Again, their niche market is entry level to affordability. And
They haven't said what that is yet, correct?
their price point.
Yeah, did they?
No.
Yes.
So
Can't really say a price point because they don't want to be stuck to it and everything's fluctuating constantly.
Yeah, I got you.
So again, just bear in mind too, this plan will evolve and they have to do a pretty extensive drainage study too. And
Mhm.
again, we've already asked them point blank, listen, if you lose 4, 10, 12, 24 units because of drainage or whatever, is that a deal breaker? And I think they know their threshold. And if they do have to lose some units, they're not going to make any more units. I think we've made that pretty clear about how far we think the density can go. But if they do have to reconfigure or maybe rearrange the units and space them out a little bit more, that may be something that we see.
What does the property look like in front of the river?
Lori, probably talk about
You mean like from the riverside looking towards our side or towards this property?
You're at the edge there.
Green.
Yeah,
there.
it's pretty low. It's pretty low lying, and I mean it's all forested. So they're proposing to do a natural path rather than like the asphalt path that Rivers Ledge put on the aqueduct. The aqueduct part here, and you can see in this area the aqueduct is very wetlands. So they're proposing to push the trail down towards the river and have it be a natural trail.
I
For the
just like to know how much maintenance we're talking about, because it is a nice chunk in like a wet area that might be a little tricky. So
Yeah, I mean, I still have to, I've never walked this far down to the river on this property, but just by looking at the contours and the aerials, I'm guessing that it's very similar to on Lock 7. When you park at Lock 7 and you're going north on the trail, you can go right to kind of go down, and then you can do a little loop through the forest. It sometimes floods. And I think that would be very similar to what this trail is.
right, I just want to,
Anticipate.
have an idea. We like to take property, but we don't always have extra people to help.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So next project up is 3900 State Street. That's a Kia automotive dealership. So they came back with what they believe is going to be their final site plan. A really nice rendering right here. It is different than what the town originally looked at. But again, you know, as these things evolve, we've actually, in our opinion, have a better plan than what we had previously. We've got more of the cars towards State Street where the parking is. They've integrated more green space. They looked at their snow removal. They actually decided to go with a subsurface water drainage system, so we don't have to have a detention pond taking up areas there. They pulled it a little bit further away from the residents on the top end of the drawing there too. So again, you know, between the street plantings and the sidewalks, there's some old power poles that are going to come down now too that are, you know, kind of not needed right there, Laura, on the left-hand side. So and then it's not, well, it is detailed there. So they have this large blue spruce that they're reconfiguring the parking lot around so that they can keep that
Yeah.
right there. So
Tree council win.
Yeah, right.
Totally.
it will look a lot better. And I believe as part of this too, we've highly encouraged them to clean up the detailing center, which is on the left-hand side of the page. You can see they did a little bit of a landscaping blob right there. But I think once they fully commit to what they're doing, that they're going to get that tuned up as well.
And that sidewalk with the trees there is going to be a nice,
It will
I think
be.
that's going to be a nice addition. You can see there's a nice chunk of green
Yeah.
there. That's going to really, I think that's going to also really improve the visual from State Street. And again, this was like, I'm coming off planning boards. It's been a lot of back and forth. You're dealing with a major brand that has Kia's got very strong rules about what they can do. But I think they were very committed to being here. But I also think it was really important for us, I will say for me personally, to not lose it. Right? Because if it was too difficult, they were going to leave. And that's a space, we have so few places like this to retain, that I think working with them and allowing them the room to expand while also being conscious of the neighbors' needs. I think I'm very excited. I hope that this is the last version and yeah, things start to move on this.
Yeah, so the large car carriers can come onto the property now,
Right.
fully unload, and then they've actually got more of that happening towards the front of the property too, where before we weren't sure if it was gonna be in the back parking lot area, the headlights, the noise, the car alarms, things like that.
I mean,
So
the tractor trailers were stopping on State Street and unloading cars.
Yeah.
Like that.
not only in the middle, but on the side.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's got, yeah. So this is gonna be, it's gonna be good.
So they're headed to a resolution in February.
Good.
2305 Knott Street East. This is Katrina's Mexican Grill. We've met with the applicant a couple times. Basically, they wanted to extend their hours of operations from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. and basically operate as a nightclub. So we've gone back and forth with that. We've talked with law enforcement in town and public safety, along with some other things. And the applicant did not come to the last meeting. We got some information on there. Planning department actually did a really good deep dive into the code and also looked at the city of Schenectady's code on what they have for places like Frog Alley that are classified as nightclubs, taverns, and that thing. We don't have that classification here in town. We
Shockingly.
as Ms. Gold said, we're very provincial, you know. So maybe a goal of the zoning is to look at the zoning in town to see if that's something that should be permitted. Sometimes we run into these things where we don't have a permitted use, but yet we don't have a reason to have a permitted use
Right.
until an applicant comes forward or more than one. So this may be the trigger for just looking at a deeper dive. The applicant has been pretty good. He has a liquor license too that also has to be considered with the extension and the use, and then we've got to go through that. So we don't know where that's at. It's pretty much tabled right now, so there's no action on it.
Oh, he hasn't come back in.
He hasn't
I was
come back-
curious
He
where it
hasn't come
was.
back in. No, we've reached out to him a number of times and shared some information with him, and the liquor authorities exchanged some information. So
This is like I love this idea of live music, but then it like we
Just went to a different
leads
place.
into this
Yeah.
area. I know.
yeah,
It's a tough location.
It is, I know, right
Yeah.
next to the school.
Yep.
but they're looking at other options of maybe operating in the hours that they have, maybe bringing in music or doing something
Yeah.
else or something too attractive within that time frame. So
I hope so.
it's again, we'll see where that goes, but we're just tracking it. 2727 Balltown Road. This is an application for a 2-lot minor subdivision. That has a resolution and secret calling for a public hearing on the 23rd meeting. That's if you're going up Balltown Road, it's a small parcel. If you remember the old vet clinic that was there, it's right in that neighborhood. You can see right there. It's they're gonna parcel off the bottom area. The applicant actually has the drainage thing figured out, which is on this application here. But we were interested in seeing the footprint of the house, and they have the house designed. So we've asked them to put that on so everything can basically be under the same information package that we're going to be looking at approving. 1245 Ruffner Road. This is an application for a lot line adjustment. So this is the one that is linked to the Mohawk Golf Club. And 1245 Ruffner Road is a single family home. On the house, there's an easement for a water. It's a hydrant or something that's there. It's like a 20-foot wide easement. Right now, that's currently a shared driveway situation between the house to the left and this house. Mike Rutherford is the owner of the Mohawk Golf Club. The intention is to extend that lot line. There's about 13 acres behind it, which was previously the townhome development that Mohawk Golf Club wanted to do.
Mhm.
So the lot line adjustment will allow the house at 1245 Ruffner Road to come down, and he build a larger house and a carriage house on the back of the property, bookended by the golf course. So the planning board has looked at this twice. We expressed some concern just about simply the precedent of taking down a house in an established neighborhood in order to build something. It's not a pressure that we've seen. It's not really commented on in the comp plan as far as a 1-to-1 removal, but basically, just so everyone's clear, the application is a lot line adjustment. And if a house comes down, in order to put another house up, there's really nothing in our code that would prohibit that or stop that.
Mhm.
If the applicant decided to keep the house and then find a way to get to the property in the back to develop it, that would open it up to a minor subdivision. we've asked them if they wanted to consider that. It's up to them. We're gonna have a conference call with them and talk about what's going on. So you may at the town level get some calls or
Mhm.
something about that. It's a sensitive topic, but the applicant's been very good. He's reached out to several of the immediate neighbors that it affects. He's done a pretty good outreach program. He's talked with them here. So we'll see where it goes. That has nothing to do with
Anything.
the legacy project that they're looking to do for the phased townhomes and stuff that was proposed on Balltown Road. I think that was last year.
Yeah.
That was kicked around.
2 years ago.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I think it was so completely independent. This is his home. He wants to develop the parcel, and that's where we are.
And just to clarify, the golf course is zoned R1,
R1.
which means
He could put a
he could
bunch of houses.
sell it
there.
and to a developer
That's not what he's
tomorrow
doing. Yes.
and create a subdivision.
I mean, he owns a mortgage company. He could absolutely have those things done like overnight. So I think we have to like really think about this as something that's separate from the ordinary lot line adjustment. He loves the golf course. He wants to keep it a golf course, which is, I think, what everybody in town, I think it's in everybody's best interest. And I know there was a lot of bad publicity and, bad blood from the project 2-3
The
years
first time
ago, the
around,
first
yeah.
time around. But he truly, I've had a lot of conversations with him. He has truly listened to the folks on Ruffner Road. This lot line adjustment is simply because he wants to build a home that he can age in.
Mhm.
And it's not the home he's in right now. And he wants it on the golf course that he loves. And so, I feel like him holding on to that golf course is something that, I mean, he lost money purchasing it. He had to buy their debt. He did all of that because he loves the golf course. So it's, I feel like we have to just keep going back to that.
Keep thinking, right, because we could be talking about
Yeah.
a minor subdivision of
Yeah.
homes taking
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's tough to
Mhm.
say that to people in the way that they like,
Mhm.
but just do a nice Google search of abandoned golf courses.
Yeah.
Because they're going really quickly and
Yeah.
the town doesn't have the means to purchase it. So I don't know who would after that. So
I mean, there was a healthy discussion about the precedent of taking down a home to get to a landlocked parcel.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of them in town. They do exist. This is not the last time we'll see an application like this, but again, just to be clear, it's a lot line adjustment.
right.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's where this is like,
And we talked about that. I mean, I think when you're in a very built out community, there's only so many places to go and so many things you can do. And I to your point, I think, right, you're going to continue to see this be something.
probably something we need to be more clear about because we are at that point in our town.
Mhm.
So what are the situations that we need to really take a critical look and what other situations make sense for the
Right.
future?
And what do we need? Like for the last one, what do we need to have in place? Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Next up is 2750 Balltown Road. This is Momentum. So if we've been following Momentum, they have R&D that they're moving over from Waterford to their campus there. It's going to be their main R&D hub. So the building's a bit dated. They're going to be tearing down basically the center 3 links and putting a large link in the middle. The square footage actually goes down by about 6,000 square feet, and then they're going to renovate the other buildings. So there's not a large addition, extension, whatever
Right.
it is.
Like 1950s labs, weren't
Oh
they?
my gosh, they were so creepy.
Oh, I didn't see them. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's Laura will bring up a picture if she can. It's a pretty well thought out plan. They kind of walked us through it. There's not a lot of impact to what's there. It's renovation.
Yeah.
They're going to stay open through the whole thing. It's a new addition in the middle of the building. They're not going to change the parking, the infrastructure,
Right.
anything leading up to signage, nothing. So
I think the front is all the same too. Like we'll barely even see what they're doing. That's in the
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
there's some upgrades to some facades and things like that to modernize it, but that's
So overall,
Yeah.
fantastic investment, right? And it's a testament to you need less space to do things now, right?
and they're going to modernize and bring it up to speed to what they
Which is good long.
A couple things we asked them, that there is no significant trucking, there's no huge amounts of hazardous materials and stuff
Mhm.
that's delivered there. We asked some of those questions at the planning board. They don't affect any noise, lighting, anything like that. So it's not chipping hammers, guns, things like
It
that. So
shouldn't be,
construction,
right.
but that's about it. So interesting project. We're going to try to get a tour of the facility. It's a pretty straightforward project. So, again, that corridor and that IR area is really undergoing a lot of significant changes here in the last few years. So.
We're gonna talk about that more.
I know. we do.
That's all I kept
Yeah.
thinking, right?
Yeah.
That's gotta be part of our story. Yep.
And then we have a few new projects for Monday nights. 398 Anthony Street, which was the J-Dog junk removal. They've got their lot lines all figured out. So 398 is going to be the home for KJM Landscaping. So they're cleaning that up so they can have the tenant change in there. 1501 Balltown Road, that's Nisku Tire and Auto, right across from the Stewart's gas station. They're looking for an exterior signage upgrade over there, which we'll see. And then at 400 Balltown Road, which is Bank of America, they're looking to come in there in Mohawk Commons. That is where the Gap store is.
Wait, what? They're going into the Gap store?
Into the Gap.
You know, the Gap was-
Into the Gap.
Into the Gap.
That stinks.
It does stink.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
Gap closed.
Yeah.
Like a week ago. I feel like I had picked up
I didn't
something
even-
like a week ago.
I know, sad story.
It's a large,
That's a big.
it's a large square
thing.
footage. Maybe Bank of America is gonna be putting their coffers in there in a huge vault. I don't know.
Wow.
No, they've got a demising wall, I think, on their plans.
Yeah.
So hold on, that's gonna make 3 banks in that plaza?
I know,
Four?
it's a lot of banks. I actually worry about it. I worry about that a little, but we don't have anything in our code that says you can't have more.
No, I know. I just find it interesting because I think of banking as being less brick and mortar
Mhm.
and it's fascinating to me. Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Not that I'm wanting,
So,
It would be
so BOA is gonna be in Mohawk Commons?
At the end.
is that good for you?
It's good for me.
Don't take Alta.
I know.
Alta's most yours.
So again, tenant chain is coming up on there. So again, from perspective of not having any open storefronts. That's
Vacancy.
good.
Yeah.
And Laura, you said though the plan has, you don't think they're gonna utilize the full space?
Yeah, I think it has a demising wall. Clark and I asked them that, because the Gap is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
An entrance, there's not an entrance on the other side next to Blaze. On the other side.
No, there
No,
isn't.
Okay. Blaze is still vacant?
Blaze is
Yeah.
still vacant. That's a tough spot, because it looks like you can get to it from State Street, but you can't. You have to drive up to Balltown and then come back to it. And I think that's one of the reasons that Blaze struggled a little.
Needs to be more of a destination spot, like a,
Central.
then you're passing by, grabbing a slice or whatever.
Yes.
And then the last thing is we had one ZBA referral, which is the GE Vernova site. So that was just for the site signage that's there. They are looking at making a brand new entry point off of Balltown Road. So they've got a current site sign that actually runs parallel with Balltown Road. They are doing this for a couple of reasons. One, in order to make it a better planned entrance. And two, if you remember the previous project, they had a guard shack that was up the driveway, which we'll call it programmatically. If somebody was not supposed to be there, they actually had to go by the guard shack up to a parking lot, turn around and come back.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, then they had to go get them.
Yeah.
So this is now going to be a security station. We'll call it visitor parking. And they'll have this signage that's up there. The signage is got to go to the ZBA because it's more of almost like a sculpture.
It's like an art piece.
It is. It is. We don't have a classification for an installation, but that's the signage right there.
I think it looks so good.
Yeah.
Have they
there's
seen
a-
it yet, the ZBA? I'm curious what they're thinking of it.
No, it's going on the 25th. I'll have a pre-meeting with Matt because unfortunately I won't be able to be at that meeting. But yeah, they'll be there on the 25th.
But there's a seating area in front. They're going to have low reflective lighting on it. There's some lighting around the signage as well. That's the security station, which is the glass building to the backside. What's pretty interesting about this layout and this design is there's a grouping. So just to give you a reference, as you're driving up Balltown Road, the grouping of the large pine trees that you see behind the sign,
Mhm.
that's the location of this. So it's a little bit further set back.
Mhm.
The GE logo has, I'm going to get these the terminology, but it's the swoosh things that are in there. I'm gonna call them dingbats.
Oh yeah. What
There's a
did you
ding-
call it?
Yeah.
The
These
dingbats
little
are
guys.
yes.
Yeah.
So the negative space that are in the logos are actually coming out in some of their designs on the campus. And as you can pick them up as you can see it. It's really
So well
interesting.
thoughtful,
It
just
is.
so thoughtful.
But the
Yeah.
importance of this project is that it actually establishes this now as a campus. Because before it was disconnected, it's going to have some visibility off of Balltown Road. It'll have an identity to it. Like right now, it's just a sign with some trees and a gate.
You
And
barely see the sign. You
Right.
gotta look for it.
and to, GE Vernova's master planning, I believe this is the last component of something that they're looking for. They are going to keep that intermediate guard shack that's up on the road too, and the parking that was there, and then you get to the main campus. So
Yeah, I think this is a huge step in like really creating this corridor of these major businesses. It also says they're sticking around, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of investment. So yes, planning has been
it
extremely.
looks like a college campus.
It
It's
does.
beautiful.
In the native species, they've been so
Mhm.
conscious. So can you see this from You'll be fully
Oh, yeah,
from
yeah,
from
yeah.
Balltown, right? Yeah. That's super
There
great.
That car right there is on Balltown, this blue car.
Yes, it'll be highly visible.
Highly visible. Yep. Now I see it. Okay. Yep. That's great.
Much better than the
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
There's going to be a security gate. Is that correct, Laura? I think they're keeping a gate.
They are keeping the one that's way in the back. They're not actually installing this one here.
There's a configuration. We asked them about where there would actually be a hard gate. So during operation hours, people would have to still come in. They have the guard shack that would be there too as the point. But then when let's say it's off hours or something, that security station will be manned 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
I wonder what they're gonna do with that old gate that's out front.
I don't think they're gonna have that.
No, I know. I'm just wondering if they're surplusing it or maybe we
Oh.
could use it for something.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Well,
It's not that old.
yeah, those gates don't really have a long lifespan.
Do they not?
No, I mean the components are good. You just the boards. And
I mean, it's
everything.
only what, like 8-10 years old anyways? Yeah. All right. I was like,
Thank you, David.
I have to-
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
coming.
Good
Um,
report.
Thanks for your report. Yeah, you are busy. That's a busy zoning board, but you're full. We'll talk about vacancies at the very end. Your planning board is full, right? You've got people that you need.
We have
Excellent.
Joe Dresser's our
Alternate.
last one.
Terrific.
Mhm.
Zoning board. Not sure.
So the only case on zoning board in February is the GE sign.
Okay, that's easy.
So if Gordon is appointed, we still have 2 vacancies for alternate.
Oh, well, actually, we have one regular member and one alternate member if he's appointed.
Okay, so we still need to appoint 1 regular and 1 alternate. That's
Yeah,
what
and
we're at.
so typically I would move an alternate into the regular spot. Renee Behrens has been on the board just a couple of times, but my goal would be to move her to a permanent if she's willing after she's had a couple more meetings under her belt, because I like to have the alternates move in, and then we would have two alternates. 3 alternates. If 2 if we appointed Gordon and 3 if we
Okay.
Oh, I know. I don't even get mine vacuumed.
Dart is not here, so for CAC and comp plan. did he
I'm just
provide-
CAC actually had the same kind of running list as planning board, super long meeting because there's just a ton of planning projects. And they're working on that quiet Niskayuna proposal with the water, sewer, engineering and environmental committee where we would limit the gas powered leaf blowers to the fall, basically.
Talk about that because can we try to do this in like a
Public.
well, no, I just feel like is there some way that we could unwrap this either slowly or in conjunction with some grants we might be able to find or like rebates or I just don't want to throw something at the residence where they have to go out and purchase new home maintenance equipment right away. Do you know what I
Well, they
mean?
wouldn't have to, because they could still use the gas powered ones when the leaves are falling. That's the whole. So some towns do the whole outright ban, and actually some towns that have done the time based ban have moved to an outright ban. But I think the point is it's like a kind of a baby step. If you wanted to be blowing your grass clippings and stuff off of your driveway in the summer, you might have to get a different piece of equipment, but you'd still be able to use your gas powered leaf blowers in the fall when there's a heavy load of leaf. But hopefully it would.
What about what do we have? Like at least a third of the town, it pays people to do
Yeah,
their
that was my
property.
thought too.
Well, and actually, that's really, I think, part of the point of this legislation. It's actually been very successful in Westchester and Long Island, and any community that's adopted it hasn't repealed it. So it's worked pretty well. And I think one of the things that it really does is kind of force those companies to move to the equipment. Their guys are actually breathing in the emissions from these 2-stroke engines, which are terrible. The noise, they've got to have the ear protection and everything because the noise is terrible. So it does kind of nudge those companies into a more healthy and environmental friendly way of taking care of lawns. But generally speaking, it should have pretty small impact on regular homeowners.
Do you have any connections to maybe like other area municipalities that might be looking into similar? I just don't want to be the lone community where we're making people pay more for their yard maintenance because we're forcing them to. I'm just thoughtful about how the domino effect. It's obviously a great idea, but it's going to have unforeseen circumstances that will.
Yeah, because the old members from the Conservation Advisory Council was Vicky. Michaela, and Jonathan Marr. They did make some contacts with some of the people in downstate, and actually there's a lady that just reached out to the CAC that is part of a more New York statewide quiet New York State type of organization who is reaching out. So
Laura, would we be the first in the capital region to do this?
I'm not really sure, but just so you guys know, I can look into that and find out. We were the first in the capital region to adopt the stretch code, and we got a lot of, oh my gosh, we're going to die. And it was fine.
Stretch code?
That was when we had higher energy requirements than all of the surrounding communities. We were the first ones in the capital region to adopt an energy stretch code. And it meant that developers had different standards for their single family homes when they built a home in Niskuna versus, Glenville. It was not nearly as impactful as people were worried about. And it did drive things forward. And New York State has now adopted basically the stretch code. So,
well, like I said, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just want to be very thoughtful about how we're unwrapping it for folks. And then how does that impact what the town uses for maintenance equipment?
Well, we're exempted from our code, but we can get more grants and stuff for the electric landscaping equipment.
Yeah, but I think the feedback from the crew was that it wasn't robust enough for commercial use, right?
Well, actually, they didn't give me that feedback. I would love to get feedback from them.
Laura, I'm passing it on, but I'm wondering if that's what we purchased and if there are better pieces of equipment, we need to be thinking about that as we're like replacing things over the next few years. So maybe I don't know. I feel like we should check all these boxes before we make people nervous because, they like
People
the house.
complaining about the noise? Like, is that what's driving this? Are residents complaining?
Yeah, we do get complaints about leaf blowers running in the summertime a lot. The loud ones, yeah.
The dB.
I mean, is it
decibels.
just like
Decibel is
people
so high.
commercially mowing lawns?
I don't know, but the
Yeah,
commercials start
no,
really too.
yeah, they're like blowing their leaf clippings and stuff, I guess. I'm not really sure what people do with leaf blowers and that. This is only for leaf blowers, just so you guys understand.
Like
But
a lawn loud lawnmower.
But all the commercial people use the leaf blowers to blow the grass off after they've cut it. So I'm sure that that's probably a piece of it. I'm wondering if we should reach out to some of them and just sort of say, give them a heads up that like, this is the conversations we're having. If you're going to be replacing things, make sure some of it is electric, I guess, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, things actually usually organically grow from Long Island, Westchester, and New York City up. So I actually think that this is, you know, something that is coming. The electric landscaping equipment used to be way more expensive. Now it's about the same. And just the quietness and the not having to breathe the fumes. A lot of people are, I mean, if you did a poll, I think there's a fair number of homeowners in Niskuna that actually already have the electric ones. You can switch the batteries around between different types of equipment and stuff, weed whackers, and you just pull the battery out and pop it into something else. Like you can use a lawnmower battery on your leaf. I actually think it's a lot more prevalent than my
Laura,
neighbor.
it's not the idea at all. And I definitely agree with you. I'm like playing devil's advocate
Yes.
because I don't want it to turn into something negative.
Mhm.
Basically.
And I
Yeah,
think
no, I
that
understand.
part of that is being out ahead of explaining it to people and, right, making sure they're not caught off
Did
guard.
they do it at a county level in Westchester, or was it individual municipalities that we could look at how they did it?
It's definitely individual municipalities. We have a little chart of all the ones that adopted it, and like I said, some of them adopted the time ban and have now moved to a full ban because it worked so well.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's even in the chart that we have.
I'll pick at that and see if I can't find some information on how we can unwrap it well.
And then the comprehensive plan is just working away on the chapters. We got a meeting on next Tuesday, and we're going to finish up the public outreach and try to do the neighborhood narratives and try to finish the public utilities. It's a really big list of chapters, and we probably won't do all of them, but we're going to try.
Laura, after the conversation we had with David about the taking down of single family homes, do we want to consider putting some sort of language in, since we've got 10 years on this plan? Do we want to try to put that in somewhere?
Yeah, we have that in. That's kind of one of Dart's things. His neighborhood that he grew up in is next to Rhinebeck, and Rhinebeck did this thing where they preserve the single family homes so people can come in and take them down and put new, different bigger homes there. And his town didn't, and his town it's heartbreaking to him. So he's got a bunch of stuff in there already about that.
What chapter is that in?
Mostly the historic preservation chapter.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's okay. That's good.
So
Uh,
Clark's
yes.
working on the planning board packet. The architectural review board, I know he had a good meeting with them. They're looking at a lot of the big list of planning board projects as well.
Good.
Did anybody have any questions on building department, enforcement, and planning department?
So. No.
No, I think we're good.
And Elena's not here. I don't know if there's anything pertaining.
Yeah, she's been taking a pretty difficult case through court for us for Palmer Ave, which I think is scheduled for trial soon, that she's been working on for us. A lot of work without building permits.
Okay.
She's also working on, this is parks as well, but we're still trying to make sure that we do the leasing of the old transfer station lot correctly. So I'm hoping to have something out there, as like an initial first step for the end of February, just to whatever that first step is supposed to be. But I know she reached out to Association of Towns and hasn't heard back yet. Sarah and I are going to be down at the annual meeting, so we could always, kick some things around with people as well. But I'm hoping to have something on. And truthfully, it probably should come out of this committee and Highway and Parks, I would think, just because of the nature of it. So
Mhm.
it's-
Yeah.
That's good to know. And then I think for Metroplex, do you have anything else to add? Doug?
I just
Good.
want to say that I know we all are appreciative of Ray coming down here, and I've asked him to come for every year since I've been here on this committee. I think it's important for us to get a broad overview, not only in terms of what's happening in our town, but also more broadly what's happening
Mhm.
in the county and how the two are connected. It's so important, and quite frankly, um, whenever Ray talks and he explains, it really lets us see just how impressive our town is,
Mhm.
how beautiful our town is, and quite frankly, the economic impact that we're having. I saw those figures just a couple of days ago, and it's incredible what he's done in terms of bringing in the tax revenues to all the towns. But we've done well. Um, I'm going to make sure that when I go to the next meeting, that I again thank him right there for his presentation, and certainly the Metroplex contribution and helping our town develop. But also, I just had another. This is a question. I haven't checked our website lately, but do we have a little segment there where town people can tour the town?
No, but I love that idea. And
A virtual tour?
we tried to do some drone footage of like certain areas of town last summer. And I'm happy to tell you that I got my drone stuck in a tree. So that didn't pan out the way I hoped. So, but I love that idea. And I feel like we should look and see how other places are doing it and try to put.
A virtual, because that way, the ideal thing was for us to have a day where we have almost like a mini festival. We have a tour of the town, but a virtual tour that could be done all year round. And
And accessible from anywhere.
correct. And most importantly, we have a lot of good things going on here in this town. And when you don't really let people know about it, it really, if I could use an analogy, this is kind of a crude analogy, but I got to say it. But I think because it's so great. It's kind of like peeing on yourself with a dark pair of pants on. You get a warm feeling, but nobody notices. Okay. And so what I'm saying is we've got a great town. And you're in communication. We got to do a better job of promoting it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Just
We're working on it. I agree.
and I think a virtual tour. So anybody, anywhere, you're right. Anybody, anywhere can say, "Oh, this is what's happening in Niskayuna, or this is what Niskayuna. They got this great park, line. I didn't realize that. Oh man! And look at bottom line is all those things that we've been talking about. Those things that can say, "Hey, this is what we have here in Niskayuna." Those are things we should be showcasing.
Agreed. I mean,
We were just talking about
we
this
were
the
just
other
talking
day.
about that. I mean, the reality is it's known as a desirable place to live. So I think you can rest on the
There's our
laurel.
brand right
Right.
there. A desirable place to live.
And work.
But I think we need to be thinking in partnership with Metroplex. We don't have a ton of business locations to attract, but we need them. Our tax base needs them.
Yes, we do.
And so I think everything that we can do to make, you want to be in this. Look what GE did. They decided to be in our neighborhood, right? To help us with that. I mean, I feel very strongly that we have to max out every commercial square inch we can because we need that tax base.
Absolutely. But also just in terms of people who want to live here.
Yes.
I can certainly talk with Ray so we can perhaps see if we can get that on the agenda. Perhaps they can give us some funding to develop a virtual tour on our
I
website.
love that. If that's a grant they'd be willing to give, we would love it.
Love it. To pilot that for the county, maybe.
I'll hit him up today,
Yeah.
and so that we can get it on our agenda.
I do higher ed marketing and the colleges do it all now. So there's got to be packages.
they're really
that-
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, with all
Can
the
be done.
college tours
You know,
online.
real estate too.
Yeah, real estate does it now too.
Yeah.
That's true.
We should be
Yeah,
able to
so
hear like our part.
I just think that's what we need to do. Is say, hey, what are you gonna do in the winter? What are you gonna do in the summertime? What are you gonna do in the spring? Great places for picnics. This is what we need to promote.
Yes, agreed. I agree. It's a good story that we have to tell.
Great story we have to tell.
Thank you for that. Super.
Before we wrap up,
Yes.
CAC has 3 open positions.
Yeah, the openings are always at the end of the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
just make
Yeah,
sure they
3
were-
open positions. Yep.
And then Complete Streets is 2 architect. That's even after the one that we just did.
No, actually, that's wrong. There's only 1 left. I'm sorry, I didn't update that.
And then our ARB is still 3. We haven't
Mhm.
appointed anybody there in a while. We actually should try to get that going. That's such a it's such a specific, but yeah.
Yes, but we do need to try to fill those spots. So think about people that might want to get involved. It's often the way many of us have gotten involved. So, and it's rewarding, I think. I think maybe we have to tell that story too. It's great to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Terrific. This was long but fruitful, and I think the bottom line is there's a lot going on, which is good as we go into the new year. So thank you for all being here. Can I, unless there's anything else, have a motion to adjourn
So moved.
and seconded? Second, thank
Sorry.
you. All in favor? Any names? Yeah. Terrific. I think we're good, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.